gosh, this is a surprise to see so many of you out. Sorry, please sit down. Have you had breakfast?
No.
I had breakfast. This is just before breakfast. So, everybody, good to see you. I wanted to tell you something, and now I've forgotten what it was. I'm going to put this water on here out of the way. And so how will I start with you guys? It'll be a good thing. After I'm done talking to you and I sign some autographs, I'm going to get on a plane and I go back to Los Angeles, where even as we speak, in Los Angeles time, they're competing a horse charity called the Hollywood Charity Horse Show. It's a show I put on every year. And they're, thank you, and it's on right now. And this is Friday, so I'll be competing Saturday and Sunday. And on Saturday night, we have a big party there. Well, it's not a big party because it's a room that seats 500 people. So we tried to sell tickets and to fill the house. And I've been able, because I've tried to sing and met some really good singers and become friendly with them. So I've asked them from time to time to come to the party, to come to this party that I put on. So people like Brad Paisley and all kinds of wonderful Western singers have come to the party, given us their services, and we've sold these tickets. I can't tell you how hard it is to raise money for charity. Everybody should, in my opinion, everybody should give something to charity on a regular basis. People who it's just something we should do. Were you here last evening? Any of you people here last evening? Yes. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to just repeat something that I said yesterday, and that is, my friend Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock, has passed on last year. And I wrote a book called Leonard, my friendship with a remarkable man. But I was faced with this dilemma last year. This friend of mine, dear soul, had died, and his funeral was in 2 days. So this was a Friday, and his funeral was on a Sunday. And I, months before, had committed myself to a Red Cross fundraising opportunity. They were going to raise money for the Red Cross, and the Red Cross, as you know, is a wonderful organization that helps people all the time in every event. Whenever there's a terrible thing happening to some people, the Red Cross is there. So I had promised that I would come on a Saturday night to this event, to which they sold tickets, and they were raising millions of dollars. Now, what was I to do? Was I to go to my friend's funeral, or was I to go to this event? And if I went to the event, I couldn't get to the funeral. I had that choice to make. So I made it, and I made it on the basis of this idea that all of us are born, we live and we die, and countless numbers of us have died prior to this moment in time, and they're really not remembered. There's no memory of people, really, essentially. Maybe for a week, a month, a day, a year, but if I were to say to you, Cary Grant Gene Kelly. Those of you of a certain age would know what I'm talking about. These were famous people not so long ago, now long since forgotten. So what I said to the people at the Red Cross meeting was this. All of us, some of us who are celebrities and are in the public eye somewhat, it doesn't matter. So I coughed for them. Where did that come from? Holy moly. No, I'm good. I don't do water. This is the remnants of a cold, and it's just the remnants. But I didn't know that was there. What I said to the people at the Red Cross was, all of us are dust in a moment. What stays alive, what reverberates through time, are our good deeds. Our good deeds. I helped somebody today, and that person helps somebody else along the way, and we each do a good deed. The good deed reverberates, and that, although it doesn't have our name attached to it, that's what lives forever. And that's why I made the decision to go to the Red Cross rather than Leonard's funeral. That's my way of saying hello to you. And I'm off to my charity as of this afternoon, and I'll be there in time for Saturday night, where Neil McCoy is our guest this coming Saturday night. A wonderful man who they give their services. They come, he left Texas from somewhere and flew to Los Angeles, flying to Los Angeles, and will give his time and his talent for the purposes of charity. I mean, how wonderful is that? How do you do cough in sign language? But that means I have to cough. What's the verb, coughing? That's coughing? Well, everybody? So I'll take a question and ramble on about an answer. Are we set up for those questions? There's a microphone there. Wait a minute, that lady with a youngster in tow, let her speak up, that's perfect. You start, and I'll try my best to give you an answer. Okay, what's your name, honey?
Emily.
Emily. Gee, everybody heard that. That's so bad. That's bad when I can't hear Emily. There was an Emily in my life, I loved her. Hey, Emily, that's great. With a foot cocked like that, that's great. It's very jaunty. It's very sort of model-like. What have you got a question you want to ask me, Emily?
Yes. What's your most embarrassing or weird convention experience?
And hopefully it wasn't with my mother.
How does a young lady like you know about embarrassing moments at convention? We share. You want to know an embarrassing moment at a convention? So many conventions are embarrassing, my dear. But there was one that was really... So I'm in my hotel room. See, I fly in, this case from Los Angeles, I stay in a hotel, then I come down and talk to y'all. So I left my hotel room, and when I came back, I saw my underwear, which I had just washed, gone. Emily, my underwear was gone. And then the phone rang. Yes? I've got your underwear. It's a lady. I want my underwear back. I'll give you your underwear if you sign an autograph. And then I'll sign an autograph. She says, I'll be right up. There's a knock on the door. I open the door. I got your underwear. Thank you so much. Now, what do you want me to autograph? Thinking she'd hand me a picture. She turned around and exposed her bottom. And I signed her bottom. Will ya? Shatner. Emily, that was so embarrassing. Another question?
Hello, Mr. Shatner. Welcome to Dallas, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Sorry that you're leaving so early. I'm a teacher when I'm not dressed up in these fancy duds.
You look good.
Thank you.
What do you teach?
I'm pre-K through 4th grade,
Fourth grade?
so 3-year-olds to 10-year-olds.
Ah.
2 questions for you. Number one, I love hearing teacher stories. Were there any teachers in your life that really inspired you? And the second question is, we're all fans of you, and hopefully fans of Star Trek. Is there anything that currently you're a fan of? Because we're always looking for new things to read or watch or listen to.
Well, thank you for answering that. Teachers, you know, I'm sure that at these classes I went to in Montreal, I don't remember having a teacher from 3 to 10, you say? I don't remember any teacher then, but there was a great director. There was a great director that I worked with for 3 years. And you know, there's a method of acting, the method they call it. And it's supposed to be where you live yourself, the emotion that the character you're playing has. Huh?
Stanislavski.
Stanislavski was one of the teachers of it, exactly. So, young actors at that time, Marlon Brando was the most public proponent of it. Talked about it. But what he was really doing was doing what an actor is supposed to do. Feel the emotion and then express it within the words that have been written. But this great director, Tyrone Guthrie, who did the Guthrie, ultimately ended up doing the Guthrie Center. He was, at that time, the greatest director in the English language of Shakespeare and classical plays. And we were talking about the method. And he said, what are they doing? Why don't they just think of a sunset? So I thought that was funny to begin with. But as I thought about it more, I think what he meant was, why don't actors, instead of just thinking of the method, broaden their scope, think about life, including the sunset. I took that remark and wrote about it, thought about it. That thinking of all of nature rather than something individual within yourself seems to me also, I could liken that to horses and this hippotherapy that my charity supports, which is therapeutic riding, where people with social and emotional and physical ills relate to a horse, and the horse is a herd animal, and they can't be thinking about what happened yesterday will happen tomorrow. The herd animal, which is a prey animal, has to be thinking of the now. Live in the moment. And it struck me, and so that's how this therapeutic writing works. Living in the moment with the horse. And the horse mystically gives that to you in due time. That connection with all of nature, with horses and all of nature, seems to me what Tyrone Guthrie was saying. And I took that one sentence and have lived a life that I've tried to measure with that one sentence. Being at one with nature, striving to be part of nature, and knowing that as nature is born and lives and dies, so do we, all part of a natural evolution. That's what I took from that remark, and I suppose I could hold that up as something that affected my whole life. I don't know. Next question.
We've been able to see and enjoy and appreciate your career in the arts, but I recently heard Mike Rowe mention that he worked for a company that you had been an early investor in. In the business side, is there a business that you've been an investor in or started or worked for that you're particularly proud of what that business has accomplished?
That's an interesting question. Well, let's see. In terms of show business, I've just I finished a limited series called Better Late Than Never. It took four of us: George Foreman, the great quarterback for the Cowboys. No. First of all, he didn't play for the Cowboys, okay? Four rings. No. Come on. Can't you think of it? No, four rings, and he does color CBS. Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw. Thanks a lot. There's no help whatsoever. He's throwing these names of all these great quarterbacks. Terry Bradshaw, George Foreman, and Henry Winkler and I went off to Asia. And we went to 5-6 countries. And this series, which will be on in August, late August, is the camera's on us as we absorb these different experiences and our reaction to it. Can you imagine? I was in the ring with George Foreman. I boxed when George Foreman hit me with a right hand, okay? I caught a pass from Terry Bradshaw, and I laughed with Henry Winkler. A new series called Better Late Than Never on opening in August. That was so much fun and so hard. Gone for a month. I wrote a book called Leonard. It's out there now. It's on the New York bestseller list. Another book in September is coming out called Zero G. I had the most wonderful fun writing a science fiction book with Jeff Rovin, who's a wonderful writer. And we worked together, and Zero G will be out in September. It's about the FBI in space 50 years from now, when there's a number of vehicles orbiting the Earth and law and order, and there's the FBI. So it's G-Man in zero gravity, Zero G in September. That was a wonderful project. Priceline.com. Okay, you can laugh because I've been the spokesman for many, many years. But I went on tour with a one-man show that I opened on Broadway some years ago. And I had a producer, and they were booking all the flights. You got to get from Houston to Dallas, and both places I played, by the way. You gotta get from Houston to Dallas, from Dallas to Austin, and can it be driven? Can you drive a car? Do you take a bus? Or do you fly? What's the hotel? How do you get? So this producer handled it all. After a while, and I'd stopped touring, I went back to touring and I thought, I could do this myself. And I used Priceline for the flights, for the cars, and for the hotel rooms. It worked like magic. And that's a really wonderful company. The Hollywood Charity Horse Show is called the Priceline.com Hollywood Charity Horse Show, sponsored by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo donates money in every area of the country where there's a Wells Fargo. They have funds set aside for charitable purposes. And I've been able to tap into that. And that's an enlightened company policy. Sure, they're publicizing the bank and bank with us, but what an intelligent way to do it. To give to charity and say, this is Wells Fargo, giving to the kids, giving to the veterans. It's incredible. So from that point of view, those two companies and the NBC that I worked for on the series, that's a start. Thank you.
Why does Captain Kirk kiss all the girls?
How old are you?
10.
When you're 13, you'll understand. Look, a pretty girl is an accident by nature. Are you coming to attack me, honey? A pretty girl is an accident. Nice nose, proportion, all the things we think are pretty. So pretty girls have an advantage over somebody who's not as pretty, but they also have a disadvantage because this accident given by nature to your face is none of your doing. What is your doing is what's going on inside your head. So I've known a lot of pretty girls that were fun to kiss. Okay, sorry to admit it, but they were fun. Who relied on their pretty face to get them someplace. And that worked for a while. But then pretty faces mature and become wonderfully looking older people. Whereas, like me. And then there's a new group of pretty girls coming up. So what pretty girls and everybody needs to do is while they're young and going to school teacher, make use of an education so that not only are you a pretty face, but you're a bright mind. Okay?
My name is Travis Kitchens, and I have two questions. The first being, what was your reaction when you found out the Michael Myers mask was just a painted you?
I was horrified.
And second question being, do you have any advice for young actors getting into the business and who are absolutely terrified of getting into the business?
Yeah. Well, you're right to be terrified. There you go. See, that wasn't bad. You know, young actors have a real problem. That everybody has. My grandson, who graduated with an engineering degree, and he was valedictorian, and he was very bright in the school, and he got a job immediately. And now he's telling me, you know, I'm not thrilled with my job. I'd rather do make apps, actually. Something totally not connected with engineering. So he's changing his mind as to what he wants to do. And he's approaching it intelligently. I would rather do this, but I'm doing this now, and then I'll do that. But young actors are thinking of a pot of gold of some kind. Either a career pot of gold, which may not be as have the remuneration of a long-term pot of gold where you're hired because you're a good actor. But when you're in your 20s and you're dreaming, and you have dreams that you want to fulfill, and this happens in your case to be, you want to be an actor. What does that mean? Do you want to be on stage? Do you want to entertain people? Do you want to be in films? Do you want to be on a series? There are actors, many of you, I'm sure most of you know many more than I do, who made it big by accident, by being at the right place at the right time. And then have never been able to get a decent job since then, and have been too reluctant to change course. Acting because you want to be a performer, because you want to interpret lines of great plays, is one thing. You could spend your lifetime doing that, sometimes in poverty, because, again, the pretty face, good body, takes precedent over talent in that short period of time. It's difficult for an actor to say, after say putting 10 years into being an actor, and now you're still not able to get a roof over your head and have a family because you're not making enough money. How difficult I've seen it in so many people to say, I've got to give my dream up and do something more practical, something that will earn me a living. I've seen actors who had a quick success when they were young. By success, I mean they got a good job as an actor. And then, after that job was over, or another job was over, slowly, for some reason or other, the work fades, and they refuse to give up. They refuse to assess their position and say, maybe I better give up and go to something else. Because there's a stigma attached to saying I give up. Or I've made a mistake. Or I better try something else in addition to what I'm doing in order to make a living. Actors face this dreamlike quality. It's like Las Vegas in a way. Because if you're at the right place at the right time, which means you look right, you act right, you do right, the producer has the hots for it, whatever it is, you get a job, and it's over when it's over. Now you need to get another job. Actors are always unemployed. What do you do in your 30s when other young people who had the dreams of 20 now are working practically to make that dream come true in their 30s? And you, the actor, 10 years late, are saying, what do I do? I'm 10 years behind the person who made the choices that they've stuck with. Very, very difficult. And the answer to that I don't have. I never thought of giving up. And there were many times I didn't have any money. Many times I had 3 children, and I had $1,800 in the bank. And it always was $1,800. Every time I made some money, put it in the bank, and shortly thereafter it was $1,800. It was the darndest thing. I thought, oh, I got some money, so the car needs repairing, or the house, or the braces, or whatever it was. It was awful. Acting is a precarious vocation. And in the days when actors were, I don't know, when acting was different, they'd go into a company, an acting company, and they'd get a living wage and be part of an ongoing thing. That doesn't exist now. Now you're waiting for the movie role or the series role. Very difficult. So people like yourself got to know what the future, the difficulties faced in the future. You also have to know if you grab the brass ring, it's huge, and your life is going to be totally different if you're able to grab the brass ring. but you need advice, not on how to breathe and be an actor, but how to conduct yourself so that you're weighing the possibilities with as little prejudice as possible. Thank you.
Mr. Shatner, you've had some great roles from Star Trek and Twilight Zone up through Airplane and New Range 15. What's your favorite role so far?
Well, I wrote a one-man show. One-man show? You mean you're going to sit or walk around on stage and entertain people for 2 hours? Are you kidding me? And people won't laugh, and then they start. Have you ever had people walk out on you? I have. Not in a one-man show, but in a play I did in Broadway. It was so bad, a whole row of people got up and left. So this one-man show I wrote, and Australia had asked me to do a one-man show, one of the cities in Australia. So I went down there and started. I thought, if I fail, nobody will know. This is Australia. But it was successful, and I toured all of Australia, then I toured all of Canada, and then when New York asked me to come in, I rewrote it, restaged it, and went on. Just as a side story about that, I didn't have any time to do the show in New York prior to the opening. I came into New York and I opened. I had the night before to arrange all the technical stuff, so I arranged all the technical stuff. And then I went out to dinner with my wife and my friend. And the three of us are ordering a meal, and they ordered fish. And I said, oh no, I'm not gonna have any fish I could get. I don't want to chance anything for the opening tomorrow night. So I had a hamburger. So the next day, they were fine and I was sick. I've got to go on stage. One-man show, Broadway, critics, and I am so ill, I can't leave the bathroom. I get on stage, and I'm doing my thing, and then I have to go. There's been a technical difficulty, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. And I ran to the bathroom, and I went to the bathroom. Then I came back and continued on. One-man show. That one-man